What's interesting is the presumption in the United States is that it's, terrible to be an asset of Russia, but entirely acceptable to be an asset of Ukraine.
Surely, time has come to change this.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Benny. We don't normally read Swiss magazines, but when they're interviewing Tucker, of course we'll read Die Welt, the voice, the world, the people of the world, I think is what that translates to. Die Welt, whatever. Tucker Carlson's unstoppable since his sudden departure from Fox News. He scores record viewer ratings in an exclusive interview with Weltwoche. The political media star demolishes the mainstream media's manipulation machine, reveals the concerns about the potential Donald Trump restoration, and speaks about a disturbing state of the Biden family, discusses his what's next for him post-Fox News order. They're all afraid. Now, this is a great article. I would actually encourage you definitely go read it. Tucker Carlson is great as ever. But there was a part of the article that got clipped and put out by the publicist for Tucker Carlson, effectively, Chadwick Moore, that was very interesting and making a lot of news. It was the federal government stopping Tucker Carlson from doing an interview with Vladimir Putin. Now, Tucker hasn't really talked about it like this before, but now that he's out of the constraints of Fox News, you can see that Tucker Carlson was literally halted by our own federal government from doing an interview with one of the arguably the most newsworthy leader in foreign leader in the whole world. Why would you do that? Also, how can you do that if you are serving the Constitution and freedom of the press and so on and so on and so on? Horrible people. You don't have to agree with Vladimir Putin. Horrible people get interviewed all the time, right? Saddam Hussein, Gaddafi, whatever, Xi Jinping. Like, bad leaders get interviewed all the time. Okay? But they stopped Tucker specifically from interviewing Putin. Let's listen to what Tucker has to say. I tried to interview Putin. The U.S. government stopped me. So think about that for a minute. By the way, nobody defended me. I don't think there was anybody in the news media who said, wait a second, I may not like the guy, but he has a right to interview who he wants. You have a right to hear what Putin says. You're not allowed to hear Putin's voice? Why? There was no vote on it. No one asked me. I'm 54 years old. I've paid my taxes. I follow the law. I'm an American citizen. I'm much more loyal to America than, say, Joe Biden or Kamala Harris, who didn't even grow up in the country. She grew up in Canada. And they're telling me what it is to be a loyal American? It's so great, Tucker Carlson. You could almost hear it. You could almost hear it in a, the Tucker, the classic Tucker format of his delivery, his monologue delivery. Tucker Carlson said the U.S. government intervened to prevent his interview of Vladimir Putin. Yeah, this is what's making the news right now. So Tucker Carlson is very much like a bull in a china shop. He's recalled this story now, freed from the confines and boundaries of Fox News, on the Nelk Boys podcast.
Hiding anything, but I was definitely hiding my plan to go interview Putin just because it's an interview.
So how did that happen?
Business.
How do you know the NSA broke into your signal?
Because they admitted it.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Like, can you tell us about that? Like, how did you find out?
I got a call from somebody in Washington who would know, just trust me, so I went up there for another reason, but this person said, are you going to come to Washington anytime soon? This was a year and a half ago, and I was like, yeah, actually, I'm going to be up in a week. Meet me Sunday morning. So weird. Like, who does that? Just text me. You know what I mean? Just text me. No. So I go, and this person's like, and this is someone who would know. Are you planning a trip to go see Putin? This was the summer before the war started. And I was like, how would you know that? I haven't told anybody. I mean, anybody. Not my brother, not my wife, nobody. And just because, it's one of a million things you're working on, but that was one of them. I want to go interview. Why wouldn't I want to interview Putin?
And here's some more from that interview.
How would you know that? Because NSA pulled your text with this other person you were texting. How did you know that? And so I was intimidated. I'm embarrassed to admit, but I was completely freaked out by it. I called a U.S. senator who I know, not that well, but it seems like a trustworthy person. And I told him the story. I said, I just want to tell you this. And then I went on TV on Monday and I'm like, this happened. And so they had, And Congress asked NSA, and NSA is like, yes, we did this, but for good reason. What would be a good reason to read my, what? But the head of NSA, it's fine. It gets, because everyone's in on it. Republicans and Democrats are all in on it. And by it, I mean the assumption that there's no privacy whatsoever, that they have a right to know everything you're saying and thinking.
Yeah. And it is remarkable that Tucker Carlson then ends up getting fired. Instead of Tucker Carlson suing the federal government and getting a massive settlement, the biggest settlement in history, it is Fox News that has to pay the settlement, and Tucker Carlson gets fired. Incredible. Incredible. They had to preserve their war narratives. They had to. In subsequent interviews, Tucker Carlson spoke about this, saying that they'll do anything to keep the war going in Ukraine because they must have unlimited power. They have to have a crisis.
Can't lose. They will do anything to win. So how do they do that? They're not going to do COVID again. I know everyone on the right's afraid they're going to do COVID and mask mandate. They're not going to do that. They can't do that. If they've already been exposed, that won't work. There's going to be, no, what are they going to do? They're going to go to war with Russia is what they're going to do. There will be a hot war between the United States and Russia in the next year. And
really?
Yes, of course. They want it anyway. I don't think we'll win it, but that's a separate analysis. But I think it's a political matter. They need to declare war footing in order to assume war powers in order to win. I believe that. And I think the evidence suggests that's true. So if you're worried about our politics getting like even more vicious than it already is, and people being hurt in our politics, which is entirely possible, you should be worried about the prospect of an open war. We're already at war with Russia, of course. We're funding their enemies. So we're fighting Russia. But I mean, an open battle with Russia where we say we're at war with Russia.
And Russia's a nuclear power. They have more nuclear warheads than America. New York Times article from this week saying that American soldiers are being shipped off to American soldiers from the front in Ukraine that are contractors for the Ukrainians are being sent to our bases in Germany to get medical attention after being blown up on the front. So we're fighting Russia. We're physically fighting Russia right now. What does Russian media have to say about any of this? There's a show in Russia that says Tucker Carlson's a dead man walking because he just says far too much. Tucker Carlson, you better watch out who's making your lunch, they said.
Кто говорит? На самом деле говорит ходячий мертвец. Потому что после того, как он искренне считает, что следующим шагом после обвинений и попыток импичмента станет убийство Трампа. Но вот этот человек, который сейчас самый популярный англоговорящий журналист, подписал себе смертный приговор. То, что он стремится взять интервью у нашего президента и показать его на платформе, где не будет никакой цензуры, вот этого ему не простят. Поэтому, прикрываясь этой частью, я не исключаю, что в ближайшее время, когда он будет из Европы выбираться, будет либо авиакатастрофа, либо что-то случится с автомобилем, в котором он будет ехать, либо вдруг что-то не то съест, вдруг откажет сердце.
They say that Tucker Carlson's a dead man walking. He also mentioned the fact that they tried to interview Putin. I mean, this is like Putin TV here, okay? You see all the, little warning signs and everything. But this is like, these guys would know that Tucker Carlson was trying to interview Vladimir Putin. Now, back in the day, before everyone's got brain broken, Megyn Kelly, you would recall, with her NBC show, went and interviewed Vladimir Putin in some palace, had dinner with him, wore like stilettos. You remember that? But Tucker Carlson's not allowed to do it. Megyn Kelly can go do it. When Donald Trump's president, we can raise Putin's agenda and stature, but not Tucker. No, not Tucker. He might ask an uncomfortable question. Well, there's an uncomfortable question that I have, which is, why didn't we listen to Chuck Schumer? Only time on the show you'll hear me say that. Why didn't we listen to Chuck Schumer? Chuck Schumer warned everyone that this was going to happen. In a strange turn of events, the only Democrat that's ever tried to help Donald Trump was Chuck Schumer on the eve of Donald Trump's inauguration, warning us about what these people were capable of.
Taking these shots, this antagonism, this taunting to the intelligence community.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you. So
even for a practical, supposedly hard-nosed businessman, he's being really dumb to do this.
What do you think the intelligence community would do if they were motivated?
I don't know,
to?
but from what I am told, they are very upset with how he has treated them and talked about them.
Okay, well, there you go. Chuck Schumer warning Donald Trump, 6 ways of Sunday. And who is one of the greatest emissaries for populism? Tucker. Who are they going to come after next, man? They already read his text messages. What an unbelievable violation of privacy. How many times have they read your text messages? How many? I mean, is there any privacy at all? Digitally, we're going to have to start sending notes through carrier pigeons? Incredible. Nobody ever defended Tucker, by the way, on this. Nobody ever said that this is wrong. Remarkable. They read his text messages and they prevented an interview with a world leader. What kind of country are we living in? Well, certainly the kind of country that we want to create is different than this one. This is turning into a dystopian Orwellian hellscape. Please help us create that by liking, sharing, and subscribing. It's your boy Benny and Communism Today. See you.